How do you switch? There.
There we go. Hi, everyone. We're here today, again, sharing about women, wisdom, and wellness. And this is one of my favorite topics. Let's go ahead and scoot in here so everyone can see us here on both. We're streaming. And I'm here with my guest today, Zoey. And I'm super excited because her name starts with a Z, and so does mine.
I know.
So we're the coolest people ever, right? Because how many people have their name that starts with the Z? So moving forward, I just want to introduce ourselves. And to start off with, my name is ZEAHLOT Lopez. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I see couples, I see individuals, I see children's, and I see families in my private practice in Sherman Oaks. And I absolutely love working with family units because to me, it's not so much about the individual, but the collective. It's if you see one person in session, it's the whole thing that's got to change, right? The whole enchilada. So I'm going to have my amazing guest today go ahead and introduce herself. And I'm very excited because today we're in for a treat. We're going to learn about wellness, but we're also going to learn about therapy. We're also going to learn about how to tap into our spirituality and our creative nature. So, Zoey, go ahead. Let them know who you are, what you do, and a fun fact about yourself.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Zoey Rose. I am a light worker. I am a Reiki practitioner. I created and host my podcast called The Good Vibe Tribe, and a fun fact about me is that I am a third-generation jeweler, and I also have started a jewelry company called Love Lotus. So
yes, so please, guys, follow. These are beautiful. So can you go ahead and tell us a little bit, starting about your fun fact? About your family, just being a third-generation jeweler. How cool is that, right, guys? I don't know about how many people have something that's been passed down for generations of a trade, right, of something they're doing. So go ahead, let us know.
Okay, so actually, yeah, I am a third-generation jeweler. My grandpa was a jeweler, and my dad is a jeweler, and most of my uncles are jewelers as well. So I am definitely a third-generation jeweler. But my family actually does more like high-end jewelry, like engagement rings and like diamond, they work with those kind of things. And I actually work with stones and crystals, and I Reiki infuse and Reiki charge all my jewelry with the love and light frequency of the Reiki healing energy. So
this is beautiful, and I'm just curious because I don't really know much about that. How do you infuse a item with that type of energy? Like, what can we do to make sure that it's sending us good vibes during the day? Because some people are like, it's the new moon, I don't know if this is gonna help me. How can that help us have better health? Tell us.
Okay, so Reiki, the way Reiki works is there's always a Reiki master who has done all the training and has all 3 certificates, and they've actually been attuned to the Reiki master like frequency, so they're then able to attune others. So I I went to 2 classes, so I have my Reiki 1 and 2, and there was a Reiki master, Roxy, who attuned me to the energy so that I have now the capability of like passing that on. And what happens is that I end up being like a vessel or a conduit from source. So the light energy comes from source and goes through me, and then I can then use my hands as a way to put the love and light energy onto food, people, like whatever, jewelry, and yeah. So that's basically
I love
how
that,
works.
and I've never really thought about it, but it makes sense when people are like, oh, sending you good vibes, or I'm gonna put good vibes into this, right?
Yeah.
And it just reminds me, like, just me being Latina, in my culture, it's like, well, I made this with lots of love, right? And I don't know about in the Armenian culture, but for us, if somebody makes something with love, it tastes much better.
Yes.
But if somebody was angry when they made it and they're like, here, just eat this, it's not the same thing. So can you tell us more, Zoey, about this piece that you have here, which is absolutely beautiful. This one, if you guys could see it, it's so beautiful. It's very eye-catching. Can you tell us more about that piece?
Yeah, this is abalone. So this is actually comes from a shell that comes from the ocean. So it has like very calming properties. It's really good for like anxiety, and it also balances your like masculine and feminine energy, and it's just very like soothing. This is like something that I never take this one off like ever. So I always wear this one because it resonates with me a lot. Because yeah, the ocean is like a big part of like me. So anything like from the sea, it just like totally resonates with me. So I wear that one always.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that. I've never really given much thought about the pieces we wear, what we put on, but it all goes back into the mental health. And this is what I'm extremely passionate about as a therapist, as you know. I was so lucky this past weekend to be a guest on Zoey's podcast. So I'm really excited for that to launch, but also just for you guys to hear the amazing amount of information that her guests have on her podcast. So Zoey, going into our next subject, can you let our audience, our watchers, our viewers know more about your podcast? How you got started, what just lit up inside you and was like, I'm gonna start a podcast, because you're a shaker and a mover and you're a woman that's making changes out there. And if anybody knows, I just love when I meet women that are doing something different. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I actually, I discovered podcasts, honestly, like 2 to 3 months ago. I had that was like a totally other world for me. I didn't know, but someone that I really looked up to, she did a podcast, and like I started listening to it, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty freaking awesome, because I felt like I was just hanging out with her, and it just felt so good, and I was able to do this while driving to work, so I was able to get reconnected and feel more aligned, and just do that all while driving, and it just like, I don't know, it just, something resonated in me, like I really wanted to do it. And I actually have a background in audio engineering, because I have done work in reality TV, and I know how to do an audio mixer and do all of that. So it just like clicked with me that this is something that I have to try and do. And one of my coworkers, he actually is like, he's been wanting to find somebody that wants to do podcasts, so he can like help in that way. So he has helped me like just upload it online and do that. So one day he was just like, oh, I'm recording a podcast for someone else, you want to come check it out? And I was like, yeah, of course, I'd love to see like how all this happens. And then once I saw like how simple and easy it was for me to record it from my house, and that like I can do it, he's like, why don't you get on the mic right now? And I was like, what? No way. Like, I'm just here to observe. Like, I'm not here to get on a microphone. But I did it, and like the second I heard myself like with the headphones, I was like, holy crap, like I need to do this. And like that just sparked my passion, and I just, you know, I find things that help me, and I just want to like help others as much as I can. And the main reason I started the Good Vibe Tribe podcast is because like I went through my awakening journey, and it was something that I had some support, but just not a lot of support, and I didn't know where to find the support that I needed. So I just wanted to create that sense of community and connectedness through the podcast with like-minded awakened people, so that they never have to like feel alone going through the journey. So that's why I like opened up and like shared my story with all of you. So yeah,
and I appreciate that. You know, you touched on a really good subject about the whole support system. So for those viewers that know somebody that's like, oh, I really want to start a podcast on like tea or whatever it is that they're passionate about, what do you suggest they do? Like, what are the top 3 things that if somebody wants to start a podcast, you think they should do?
Oh.
And you're like, oh, that's such a loaded question. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you suggest? The top 3.
I would say I would take it one day at a time and just see how things go. Honestly, another thing is I would just say go for it, because don't ever wait for like the right time, because there's never a right time. And don't wait for, oh, I'm not in the mood today, or I'm not, like, nope, get up there, do it, because you will be surprised within yourself, and then you'll be happy you did it afterwards. So that's like another big thing. And
so just do it. That's number 1. Like, just get out there. You got to do this, right? I love this. Okay.
Yeah.
What's number 2?
Number 2, it would be good if you can record audio, I would say. I don't know, to have the skills in that, or know somebody that can help you record it, because that's like huge. You know, you have to know how to like edit the audio, and you have to know how to record the audio and troubleshoot if like things happen. So it's good to have like that support. So that's why I'm happy that I have my friend Houston who helps me with that. So I mostly record it from my house, but if I do have any questions or things like that, I do have like a support system to go to. So I think support would be like the second thing, because that's like a good thing to have as well.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that just across the board, that support, like a tribe, literally a
Yeah,
tribe,
yeah.
right? It's so important to have when you're starting any type of endeavor, right? It's knowing these people got my back, I could do this, right? So in regards to your podcast, Zoey, what have you just grown in helping women? What have you grown that you're like, oh, I didn't even know I had all these skills, all this information? Because as I've had guests on these, people have reached out and said, Z, like, they're so amazing. They had so much information on the body, on spirituality, on just men or mental health. What have you learned from doing your podcast in regards to women's health?
I've learned a lot through the journey. I've made some amazing friends and connections like that, especially women and the feminine energy, and I think it has just like opened me up to I don't know, more of like being more feminine and having more sensuality and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And then so I want to ask, just so I'm clear, like to
Yeah.
me, I think feminine, and I think just it's a feeling associated with what makes you feel feminine, right? What about sensuality? How would you define that?
Sensuality? Sensuality, I would just be like expressing yourself freely with whatever resonates with your heart, and just like expressing yourself, your body, your inside and outside, and just being completely one and open and connected with all that. And yeah.
So in speaking about that and just being open, it's some people have difficulty because we have blockages, right? We have things that are keeping us from really just being our true self and getting in there. So Zoey has this amazing testimony for mental health. So her and I have had this great conversation about therapy, right? Because you come from an Armenian family, I come from a Mexican family, and in both our cultures, it's a stigma. It's like, no, you are not going, our family stuff stays here, right? So what can you let our viewers know that are like top tips about getting therapy? Like let's start there in getting started. How did you even get started in finding, as an adult, not so much as a child. As an adult grown woman, what did you do to find a therapist that was right for you?
Okay, so I've gone through things in my past, which I'm sure everybody has gone through things.
Yes.
And I've definitely gone through like difficult times, and some are more difficult than others. And when I was going through a very difficult time, and I knew that this was something that I could not fully handle by myself, you know, because I was like too emotional about everything, I did like seek help, and I did go and look for a therapist. I knew that that was like the more responsible thing to do, so that's what I did. And for me, like the way that I found my therapist, I guess because I had health insurance, so I just went through my health insurance and tried to assess like the best one and did all reviews and things like that. But honestly, I wish I would have like known you. Really, I wish I did, because it would have been like felt so much more organic and just felt like
thank you.
Yes, no, it would have just felt like, honestly, it would have just felt like two girlfriends like just talking,
right?
but,
like, girl, how'd your week go, right?
Yeah.
And just to let you guys know, I always I network, and I meet these amazing people, but I also respect the field that we have. So everything for therapy clients is 100% confidential. That's private. It's a sacred space, right? What I do is I invite guests that I meet within the industries or just helping others to come and share their wisdom. So just so we're all clear here, right? And then Zoey, can you help us understand, how did you go through the reviews? Because in a day and age where there's so much technology, there's so many people saying, oh, you know, look for this, look for that. What should our viewers look for when they're going through reviews of therapists?
I think that you should just go for what resonates most with you. Each therapist, everyone has their own qualities that they're really good at, or things that they're really good at. So depending on where you are in your life, what it is that you need, as reading through the reviews, I would just say whichever one speaks most to you and resonates most with you, that you should go with that one, because that's what I did at the time. I was looking to turn my life into something more positive and reshape, and I was looking more for something like cognitive behavioral therapy, but not really, so the psychologist that I saw, the way he put his, I think I went to his website, he put a little information about himself, so I liked that he says he uses different techniques or different tools, and I like when they have homework or something that I can go home and work on or do things like that. But every therapist is different, and each person is different, so I would just look for whatever like resonates with you. So
yeah, and I couldn't agree more. So for those viewers that don't know what CBT is, it's cognitive behavioral therapy, right? And it's much more of the step 1, step 2, this is how we get to our goals. This is how we become happier and less anxious and less depressed, right? What would you say has helped you the most out of therapy? Can you give us like the top takeaways that you've gotten, like tool-wise, whether they be mentally or do this with your body, do this when you're having certain thoughts?
Yeah, I think that they were good for so the tools. It's good for reflecting. Like it was a good way for me to sit down with somebody and like someone who's professional and like responsible, who can like understand what I'm going through and like have like the proper feedback instead of just being like my friend and things like that. So I would say like the reflecting, like being able to reflect and be positive with a person who is responsible and has that type of a background. And another tool is there were things like, because I would get like panic attacks and things like that, so there were little things that he would tell me to do, like maybe count backwards or just something to just like to stop my mind from racing and doing things like that. So I think in ways like that, that was really helpful. And then my therapist, if I were like, even if I didn't have an appointment and I was going through something, he always offered for a phone call and gave me like that extra support, which I did use for many times. So that really helped me out a lot. And
I think that's wonderful, because there are a lot of therapists that work that way, where it's like, hey, it's just a friendly check-in, you know, a 5 to 10 minute conversation about, hey, how are you doing this week? Are we functioning well? You know, are you keeping up the good work? And I think that's just awesome, because it's a human to human connection. You said something so important. It's how to manage your anxiety, right? And it's counting backwards. Some of the tools I also use in session with some of my clients, or just people in general that ask me, hey Z, like how do I combat anxiety? Some of the tools I use is counting everything in the room that's red, counting everything in the room that is glitter or pink. And the more random you get, the harder it is. Because you're concentrating. And for those that are claustrophobic or can't be in, you know, too many spaces at once, it helps to really keep your mind just going. Another really cool trick that I've learned for anxiety is to grab one of those packs that you have to click for a chemical change to occur and it becomes cold.
I know what that is.
It's a hack. It's a hack I learned in a training I went to for therapists. And what you do is you put it on your forehead right there, and then you tip your body over all the way so the blood starts flowing to your head. And in that way you're actually literally tricking your body physiologically to think that it's okay. We have to trick our body into thinking that it's not in panic mode, right? Awesome. So Zoey, I'm going to ask you, so we're going to do a challenge today, right? Because I do something fun with every guest that I have. If I gave you $5 to go to Target for something healthy that would help a woman with her self-care, with her beauty, or some like regimen you had to make on your own, what would Zoey do with those $5? What would she recommend? So I'll go first, and then maybe we could grow from there. So one of my absolute favorite things to do with $5 is to go grab like a jar of honey, to go grab some sugar, some brown sugar, and just a little bit of lemon. 1 lemon's enough, and then I just mix that up for a lip scrub. And I just love that, because there's no side effects, there's no chemicals, and it's like a DIY do-it-yourself for women. And I just love this, right? It's self-care. So how about yourself? What would you do with $5 at Target? And I know some women are taking notes, right?
I feel like I have to think about it, just because like my first thing that popped in my head was like go get a bath bomb, because like that is definitely something that I would be doing, because that's like taking baths are like huge on self-care. Especially if you, I don't know if the bath bomb has like Epsom salt too, because that's like really cleansing too. But I don't know about making something. I'd have to like think about that more.
But I love that,
like
the bath bombs. Yeah, and that's something you could do for yourself within 5 minutes, right? So it seems like we have a question here, question or comment. Awesome. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Ooh, I love it. So for $5, we could do our charcoal face mask and a foot soak. We got a 2 for 1. Yeah, I love that. So if any other ladies have any suggestions or any comments for self-care for $5, just run to Target, right? We would love to know. So Zoey, in wrapping up a little bit today, I want to ask a bit more of like the cultural background, and just as being personally, me, a woman of color, and knowing that in my culture, mental health has such a stigma. Such a stigma of you're crazy if you go to somebody for mental health, you don't do that. What has been your experience in being of the Armenian culture and getting mental health? Because I have so many, connections that are of that same culture, and they say it's tough. Even providers, like people who are mental health professionals, and say it's tough to represent or tough to like bring this out. So what would you say about that?
Well, yeah, I'd have to agree with you that there is like something going on in that area. My parents, I guess, aren't like super thrilled in the therapy department because like they're super like old school. There was even like a point where like I was going to therapy and like I asked them like if they could just come with me too,
as like guests,
like a support.
Right?
Yeah. And my dad was like, I'm not coming. He's like, I'm not. He's like, you could do that, but I'm not doing that. And I was like, okay, like, but I think I really think like if you like, I don't know, like I've been at points in my life where it was like I didn't know what to do or who to ask for help for, and I think that like whatever you're going through, if you're in a place where you feel like you really need that extra help, I really suggest that you go and get the help, because it's good and it is a good tool and it's like good to have, and you could do it for as long as like you need it. It doesn't have to be like forever. It could be like, for me, like I specifically like needed it for a certain time. I think I went for like a little bit over a year, but then after I was like, okay, I think I got what I needed and my situation is pretty much over with, like whatever I was going through. So I was like, okay, I
crises
think I'm
mode.
good. Yeah. So no more panic attacks and no more things like that. So yeah. So that's why.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And she brings up such a great point that some people ask when they call, for a consultation, or they go, Z, like, what is it like? Like, do I have to go every day? Like, do I come once a month? And at the beginning, it's probably best that we see each other like once a week, and then once you start getting better, you can start titrating down and just being like, well, I'll come twice a week, I'll come once a month, once you're just like in that maintenance phase, right? And that's so important to know that there's options. There is no one size fits all for therapy. It's a beautiful thing where you could just tailor it. And some people, maybe they just had a baby, maybe they just got married and they're like, he left his socks out again. I just can't with him, right? So this is a good thing to know to reach out, right? And I love that you brought up the fact of that support. So what I love doing definitely within my treatment models is that if somebody wants to bring in a guest into their sessions, I'm super open to it. Whether it's their mom, their grandma, or somebody that's really connected with them, just to come in and have that support for that 1 or 2 session, that's perfectly okay. Because some people say, well, do they have to come all the time? Does my mom have to come? No, not at all. It's altered, right? So we have a comment here, and it said, men's self-care, $5 gets you a pint of ice cream. Yes, I'm definitely a fan of ice cream. That's just for the days where you're just not feeling good. So Zoey, is there any tip or trick that we didn't touch on today that you want to share with everyone? Maybe something you've known, something that a lot of people don't, a life hack or something. Ooh, your rock. Meditation. We didn't even touch on this. Can you tell us? This is the greatest tip. Go ahead. Tell us about this.
This is actually, I'm holding, it's a selenite wand. Well, it's not a wand. This is like a little piece of
selenite. So do you call it selenite, or is it a crystal, or is it a rock?
Oh,
I'm still confused. I don't know. Put me on, girl. Put me on.
Yeah, so this
Let
is
me
a
know.
crystal.
And then let's go ahead and show them too. Let's see. Okay.
So this is a crystal. I don't know if you can see it. This is made of selenite. This is a selenite crystal. I think it's also called like a liquid light rock. It's like, for me, this is my favorite one. If you can see it, it catches like the reflection really well. And this is kind of like a light worker stone. So I hold it. It's like really calming. It really like connects you to like your third eye and things like that. So this is very calming, protecting. This is one of my favorite stones. I actually, if you put them in each corner of your house, it like protects your house.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it really does.
I need to start having those at the office in every corner, like collect.
Yeah.
Collect some great energy. Awesome.
I have so many of these.
Thank you. And Zoey, for people that have questions additionally of your podcast, of your jewelry, where can they reach you? Where can they find you? Let them know. Go ahead.
Okay, so you can find me at Zoey 2_Rose 1_. That's my Instagram, and my podcast, The Good Vibe Tribe, it is on Apple Podcasts, and it's also on Spotify, so you can just search Good Vibe Tribe, and then that'll come up. I also have a Good Vibe Tribe Instagram, where it's good_vibe_tribe. So
Yes, and I have all those social media handles on her profile that I left. And please feel free that if you guys have any more questions about women, wellness, and wisdom, or anything that Zoey touched on today, please let us know. And as always, thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you.